Jacob Pavek, welcome to the Chasing Creativity podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Dude, of course, man. I'm very excited. This one is kind of funny because we've been chatting on Instagram for a while, man. It's been
a long time.
It's been a long time, dude. And I think we first started chatting about doing a podcast. I was in LA and I was like, hold on. I'm getting a studio. And then I got the studio, and then it took like another month to get all this stuff up, but get all the video stuff working. But I'm glad we did it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, well worth it. The wallpaper looks amazing.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Yeah, man. But I'm super stoked to do this because I've been listening to your music. I listened to it previously when we've been just chatting, and I mean, it's beautiful, man. Seriously, like
Thank you.
It's
so much.
Amazing. Yeah. So I'm really excited to get into the conversation today and talk about putting out releases and all that good stuff. So yeah, man.
Sure. Appreciate it.
So let's just kind of dig in. I mean, this is cool because you're in this whole little world of, I always say modern classical. Is that like even the correct term? Like neoclassical, modern classical?
It's so difficult, and I think everybody would probably have a different answer for you. My take personally is I would go with modern classical as like more of like the fusion between like kind of classical instruments like piano and strings and such, and fusing it with, you know, some modern day like pop melodies and, you know, other synths and things like that. I feel like more like a neoclassical would be like true, like, I don't know, scores and orchestral stuff.
I see. Yeah.
But that's more like avant-garde. Like a Philip Glass would be like neoclassical.
So you're in this, it's cool because you're in this like little world of people like Philip Daniel and John Hayes and Philip G. Anderson.
All my pals.
Yep. Nathan. So yeah, Jameson, Nathan Jones. I want to make sure I touch it. But yeah, so it's so cool because, you know, we were talking about this before we started, but this all started kind of randomly with Philip coming on, and it's just blossomed into this thing. I'm meeting all these cool people. So how did that start for you? I mean, piano, of course, for a long time, but how did you start kind of making your way into this world?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I started playing guitar when I was a kid, like around 12, because my dad's in a cover band.
Oh, cool.
In the same cover band since he was 12 with the same dudes, still playing out, doing like Eagles covers and things.
Oh, sick, yeah.
But he taught me how to play guitar, and then just started playing just originals in a band in middle school, just writing terrible music. That's
everyone? Yeah.
And just went into high school, kept writing songs, more like pop folk kind of stuff. And then started like senior year of high school, started playing piano more and just writing stuff on that. And then got really heavily into choir music. Of course, Eric Whitacre was a huge influence right off the bat, kind of like the first just very accessible choir music, and sang it in my choir in high school. And that was a huge influence to start writing choir music, and that was pretty much the start of it all.
Interesting.
So I wrote my first choir piece, very Eric Whitacre-esque with clusters and all that, you know, just trying to be like him for a second. And on our very last day of high school, of my senior year, my choir teacher surprised me and said that we would all run it. And so we ran it and recorded it, and it was like the biggest rush I've ever had.
Oh, that's sick.
Hearing 50 people singing my song.
Yeah.
Amazing. So then I decided to go to school for music, composition. I didn't really know what else to do, but thought that would be a fun choice. And then started really getting into piano stuff and listening to Philip Glass. Jan Tiersen was a huge influence, and started writing just some more minimal piano pieces and incorporating some strings and just experimenting with arranging, things like that. And then so all through college, I wrote just a bunch of like little piano pieces and had no idea what to do with them. All while I was still in a band, putting out albums just like any other band would.
Yeah.
And then after college, I was like, I should do something with these pieces. I had like 20 of them. So I just compiled them all together, mixed them myself, and put it out, and that was my first record, Boom.
Oh, yeah.
And still had no idea what I was doing releasing a record like that, because I didn't know anybody that was necessarily doing stuff like that. So I like released it at midnight on a Wednesday or something. Just like, here you go, world. Anybody cares.
Yeah.
And then just kind of sat on that for a while or whatever. And then Hans Kretzer from Unperceived Records, he's from Germany. he reached out and he had heard it somehow and asked if I wanted to do my next album or something similar on their record label. Dude. And he kind of introduced me to the whole world. Niklas Poshberg. He's a good friend of Hans, so that was great. And just meeting people around the world that were doing that same thing. Yeah. And it was at that time 2014, I think. About it was just like, wow, there's actually people like doing this stuff that are kind of on the same level as me, and it was just great to start networking. But it still felt kind of lonely just being in the States. I didn't really know anybody here that was doing anything similar. And then I guess in the past like 2-3 years, it's just exploded.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like people catching wind of the scene and then all of a sudden starting to like make the music. Feel like everyone else was kind of like me, always doing something, but like, we didn't know each other. And then finally, like we all found each other, and it's like a big party and live happily ever after.
Exactly.
So it's been unreal, like the past year, just seeing so many amazing musicians making beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
just being able to chat with them and collaborate, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. One thing that probably plays a big part is having something like Instagram, because you get to see these clips of people playing there. And I mean, it just visually looks so beautiful to see someone playing piano. And then you're kind of tied into this, I don't even like, as you mentioned, not like this resurgence, but just this little world that maybe people didn't even know. People were all writing this kind of same kind of music. It's all coming together, and it's so cool. And that has to play a part of it, I'm guessing. But it's really cool just to see how this has grown, and just to see how cool this little community is and how supportive it is. It's really, really interesting.
Right. And everyone's so supportive.
Yeah.
And I love that about that. I mean, I'm still in a band, kind of the same guys I've also played with since high school. And putting out those still just kind of rock, pop, folk records, whatever you would call it. But that scene is just like, it's so saturated. I feel like it's just so big that it just doesn't have the same support necessarily, unless it's like very local kind of group. I don't know. It's just a different vibe, and I love it. It's great. I remember John Hayes. How I met him was on Instagram, and he was. I don't know how we followed each other. I don't think we really knew each other. We were just following each other, probably for like a friend of a friend. And I saw him just posting clips of him playing piano on like a digital piano. I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. Had no idea who it was. And then I saw like a tag of like Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was like, wait, who are you?
Yeah.
And he's pretty new to like the whole scene too. This is his first record. Amazing first record that he put out.
Seriously, yeah.
But I think that was kind of his introduction too. He didn't really know about the scene, but he's still doing that stuff, writing beautiful music, and then finally got, found out about everything and went from there. Yeah. It's so cool.
It's super, super cool. And I feel so lucky to just have met a lot of you guys and just be able to chat with you. And it's so cool to see this progression of like how everyone starts. It's like always high school with like the typical kind of band, make it,
pretty cliche.
Yeah. That's everyone. It's awesome. One thing that was interesting as you mentioned that is, you were working on choir music and you're writing music at the time. Did you have formal training there? I mean, was that because writing and reading music is its own beast in itself? So what was that even like, kind of going from there in high school then into college? Not to backtrack too much, but
no, all good. No, we didn't have any training in high school. We didn't have any programs for that really. So I ordered like Eric Whitacre scores and a couple others, and just like Arvo Part scores, and kind of just studied them and learned how to do it.
Damn, that's incredible, for real.
Just as enough to like write something for high school. And then once I got to college, really started actually having training in music theory, and fell in love with music theory. I'm just a huge music theory nerd.
Yeah.
Which is also great finding this scene too. Like Philip Daniel is like an amazingly classically trained guy. And so like I can't really nerd out on theory with a lot of like my bandmates, but like finding him, like we just have the most boring like text message sessions just talking about theory of chords and stuff. So I love that.
Yeah. So would you say then, working on music at this stage now today with the first album and now the second album, you're very well rooted in like the theory aspect behind how the progressions are going to play out with tracks? I mean, is that a big kind of focal point for working on music, or is it more a balance between opening up to different ideas based in the theory? What's that like?
Definitely a balance, for sure. I think in college, when I was really heavily into music theory and playing by the rules, I was writing some cool stuff and experimenting, but still like definitely put into a box. And I struggled for a while to come up with anything original. I even remember bringing stuff to my professor, my composition professor, and like I brought him a choir piece one time, and I think it was something as simple as like 2 voices going and then splitting off into 3 and going back to 2, something like that. And he's like, "You can't do that." What do you mean? Sure, they could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just very, and I understand like you should definitely, I mean, it helps to learn the rules before you break them, as you say. But yeah, I struggled just being in that box, and then it kind of was like my last year of college, and then on is when I learned to let go a little bit. Still use what I learned, but still try to take a lot, just like try to listen instead of think about it too much. A lot of the stuff that I've written comes from like just laying the hands on the piano accidentally, as dumb as that sounds, but just like see what comes out and then try not to think about the theory behind it for a while until you have to, until you're in a pinch and like maybe you try to figure out where to go next. But
yeah. I remember Philip was saying the same thing. He would work on tracks where he would just lay his hands down and see what that would turn into. It's really interesting because I mean, I've had lots of conversations around that whole piece because like the electronic guys, right, who are more working within a DAW, and sometimes there'll be a MIDI controller, sometimes not. It's really almost like 50-50. And I thought the coolest thing was something I took away from a conversation with this producer named Solanka was sometimes doing that, laying your hands down and starting to work on something like that. You have these kind of preconceived notions in your head of like, you just will always kind of go to a progression or a chord structure. And I think it's really interesting because I found it with myself, right? I'll start and it's like, okay, I've heard myself do this about 10,000 times,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So even just trying to kind of address that. And when you say like lay your hands down, like lay them down in a sense where it's like you're almost breaking yourself out of that kind of structure, I think is really interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. Actually, so on my latest record, Nome, the title track Nome, I wrote the beginning theme semi by accident, I guess. It was like late at night, getting ready for bed. My wife was brushing her teeth, and then I started brushing my teeth as well, and I was just walking around the apartment, and then just put my right hand on the piano and did the main theme. Like, oh, sounds nice. And I brushed my teeth, and then had to stay up for a while to like figure out at least that main chord progression.
Yeah.
And it's just something I don't think I would have necessarily. Not that it's anything that blew anyone out of the water, but like I don't think I would have came up with it if I just didn't have my brain turned off necessarily.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Like you were kind of preoccupied brushing your teeth or whatever, and I swear I've experienced the same thing, and other people have mentioned that. It's like when you're not thinking about it, it's like that process where you're out of your element or you're out of this whatever that engaged state is, and boom, it kind of clicks a little bit. And you're like, okay, I know I can go work with this, and it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And I do that all the time, like on that record too, Fawn, just like this fast moving piano piece. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I guess, in theory terms. But I just started playing that, and I was like, all right, Jake, don't think about what you're doing. Don't think about what you're doing. Because then you're just going to steer it in a direction that maybe it shouldn't go.
Right.
So I just tried to write as long as I could just by listening to it and feeling it more than thinking about what was happening behind it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love that stuff, man, because it's such an interesting process. And even the fact that you said, early on when you were kind of transitioning from high school into college, that you were kind of found yourself kind of fit in a box and you're really struggling with like writing unique melodies. I think just people being able to hear stuff like that, to see like, okay, someone who's writing this beautiful music came from a state where they're like struggling with coming up with unique ideas. And I think people find like that's everyone, and that's just kind of the baseline for starting. And it's just working through that stuff and then seeing that, I don't know, there's just these like cool little techniques to just kind of try and break yourself out of what it is to just, almost like be human and make music. There's like these weird, I don't know, thought loops or.
Yeah, absolutely. And I try to do a lot from, like, I'm not to say that everything that comes out is like magic from a secret place, but just trying to have it come from more of like the subconscious. Mm-hmm. So like you're just not thinking about it too much. And I think a lot of the stuff that I write isn't about a specific subject matter. It's more of like reacting to certain days or events and just kind of like trying to bring out of myself those feelings that I couldn't otherwise. And yeah, just writing from the subconscious as much as possible helps, I guess. There was actually this weekend, so I have to write a composition for something that's going to come out in the fall, and the only guideline was that it had to be a piano bass. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, and I had like 2 months to write it. When I was asked to do it, I was like, all right, I'll get to it. And the deadline is tomorrow. I was like, oh, geez, I've got like a couple days to do this. So I went to the studio all this weekend trying to figure out what to do. Had some ideas, was recording, going back and forth. I'm like, it has to be good enough, but like, what do I do? And just could not figure it out. Yeah. And everything was just garbage, and I was getting so frustrated. And then yesterday, I recorded something. I was like, this is decent. I could probably submit this. And then I was like, and then I just closed my laptop and then just started playing. Just same thing, just not really thinking about it and just kind of trying to play myself out of the studio. Yeah. And came out with this melody and I was like, ooh, that's nice. Yeah. Let's roll with that. Opened up the laptop and then it went from there and it ended up being something really nice. That I'm quite proud of.
Dude.
Just like not thinking about it too much.
That's it. It's like that process. And I've experienced that. I've heard that countless times just chatting with people either on the podcast or outside the podcast, just with people. And that's it. It's like, especially it's really cool because sometimes people will say, hey, I need a deadline to kind of put myself in the state where I can like open up. But I'm in the same boat as like, if I am thinking about something too much, it will be garbage. Like for me, it'll be like, if I'm like, oh, I'm going to make the best track ever. I'm going to sit, it's going to be horrible. And it's that process of like some of the things I've been most happy with. It's just like a couple little changes in the structure of a song have been in the middle of like things happening, I honestly sometimes at work or like, because I'll be on my computer, things like that. And then I go back and I'm like, okay, this is fucking cool. But it's just that process of like removing that, I don't know, whatever it is, that kind of internal monologue to be like too much pressure. And I'll have like negative self-talk too. So if I'm putting out something, I'm like, oh, this is fucking horrible. And then if you get in that loop, oh, it's bad. It's
endless.
Yeah.
Endless. Yeah, you got to just kind of rid the anxiety and just, feel it, as dumb as it sounds.
Yeah,
not put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I've only come out with a record like once every 3 years.
Yeah. But dude, I mean, because like, I honestly, like I was thinking about that today because you have the 2 records out that I was listening to throughout since we've been speaking. And then I re-listened to everything before our conversation. And when I love that the most recent album is just so beautiful from start to finish that like, I think you can do that. Like you can take some time and then just put out like just something beautiful and you're like, all right, I'm going to go disappear for a while and make something beautiful, Yeah. I mean,
well, thanks. I'm glad it comes across that way.
Yeah. For real.
And I just like, I would like to write more and come out with more stuff, I guess. But yeah, it just like, it takes me a while to come out with like, to write compositions, I think, because I think about them a lot. Mm-hmm. And then I write a lot of strings and getting that right and making sure that flows. And then primarily because I also don't really trust my production skills all that much. So it's like, I swear to God, it's like 25% like writing the music and then 75% like me trying to mix it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beast in itself for sure.
It is. And like, it's just like when you have total control over that, it just seems to be endless. And like finding that finish button is just so hard.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, everyone echoes the same thing. And just speaking with Hannah, which was the last episode that was released, or by the time this comes out, it'll be maybe one back or a couple back, depending on things happen. Releases
Sure.
this month is crazy. But she was mentioning this that I've really kind of tried to think about is, it's better to have finished than perfect, because we're all in this world where like we want perfect, everyone, and it's harder to say than do, but just being on some sort of path to be like, I just need to get it out is challenging, because it is a weird world. Like music production in general, you're trying to do something unique, so you're putting yourself out there and you want people to react positively to it. So there's this, vulnerability to it. And so it's easy to be like, okay, wait, I can go rework something, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've done it a billion times,
Yep.
So it's a challenge that way, but I love that. And I'm trying to incorporate it a little bit more for myself, but it's super challenging.
Right. And like also nobody knows the difference of like what it could have been
Right.
other than you too. So
Yeah.
there's that piece. Yeah, I mean that's a big piece of it. And also there's like compositions that I've made in the past, like something from my previous record, Illume.
Mhm.
There were songs on there that I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah,
Let's do this. And now I'm like, I probably would have changed that.
Right.
So it's just
Right.
always going to be that. I don't know if there's anything that I'll put up that I'll be like, yeah, that's perfect. So
Yeah.
having that thought in my mind will, I think in the future, help me finish some stuff up real quicker.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, it's good. And it's good to just, I experiment a lot with the production side of it too. So it's always fun.
When you say production side, do you mean like post, or do you mean like in a DAW at all with the Juno? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, with mixing and
Uh-huh.
utilizing different reverbs and painting and all sorts of stuff like that. Even though should be fairly simple, piano and strings, you can only do so much, maybe.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Just like the little subtleties of what you can do with the reverb to help create a special space.
Yeah.
I think I spend most of my time on that.
Yeah. That's so what's your process like then? So kind of from start to finish, it's coming up with an idea. Are you recording like demo tracks that you're pulling into something like Pro Tools to play with reverbs just to see kind of how it sits? Or is that all after the fact once you have a composition laid out? Or
yeah, all after the fact. So I mean, I'll write something on a piano, just use Voice Memos app just constantly, just getting shitty ideas and then pulling them all together, map out the album. And I've done all my records to date on a beautiful Steinway grand piano at my old school, University of Wisconsin, and just get the alumni rate, which is sweet.
Yeah.
But they've got, they have some Earthworks mics in there, have a hall mic. It's great, so I can use the hall mic if I want to.
Awesome.
So then record everything there, do a session or two, pop that in to the DAW, just do some pretty simple reverb and just so it's listenable, and then actually go and record the strings. I've usually know like where the strings would go and some similar parts like of what would happen, but record those after the fact, get those in, and then just start playing around and see what fits. And I end up usually cutting out a lot of the strings, or some of the strings, if it's just like getting lost in the piano, if the frequencies are just clashing and it just doesn't work. So that's just something I have to deal with after the fact. But
are all those strings then, when you have the release tracks, are those all within the DAW? Like, because I use Contact strings too. So are you sitting there with final product, or are you bringing people in to work at the string level?
Oh, to like record the strings?
Yeah.
Yep. It's all.
Oh, okay, cool. Yep.
And I use Logic. I just am an Apple dude, and it's just what I've done.
Yeah.
A little millennial kid. And so it's just what I know. But so I had like Leah Ottman. She did strings for Illume, and she actually came here to the Alamo.
Oh, cool.
Studio.
Yeah.
She came here and recorded, which was fun, so I could kind of direct her, and hopefully she wasn't so annoyed. But had the charts so that she would play the stuff that I would write, and I would say, hey, well, can you do a pass and try this? Do a pass, try this. And then I love happy accidents. So if there was anything that just happened to pop up, I could splice that in. Try not to do that too much so that it's it doesn't sound artificial, but still, there's some nice nuggets that can come out of that.
Yeah.
And then for Nome, Josh Misner plays in a local string quartet here, Laurel String Quartet. They're super good. They play with a lot of the touring acts that come around, like Father John Misty and such. But he's got a nice studio of his own, and I just send him charts, and he records it there, sends it back, and we just kind of do that over there. And so far it's worked out, and still a lot of back and forth, but
yeah, that's cool though. I love that, and I love getting these. I don't know. I love these conversations because on kind of this side of things with modern classical, oftentimes it is like someone for the strings will come in. Like I've had previous conversations with Philip G. Anderson, like he was speaking a lot about, bringing other people in, which is super cool. And then the electronic side, so many people have, and it's different, of course, because sometimes the strings are only a small part of a mix, because you have a few other frequency spaces taken up, like, so it's not the same, but it is so cool to see, what those differences are like, because, it's just, it's awesome. And it lends more to this process that is collaborative, as you mentioned, because you're sending off ideas, and you're working with other people on piecing this together. But that's something when you're working with another person that's going to be captured in that track that will not be replicated when you're using, say, strings 2 from Contact, because you're going to get the same thing over and, so it is really selling a person's self short when they're sitting in Contact.
Right, absolutely. And you get those nice, just the character and the artifacts and different things from getting the live performance that you just wouldn't get through samples. I just feel, samples can be just so a little too perfect sometimes.
Totally.
And I'm not against samples whatsoever. I just feel like for something, if I'm only, doing a record every couple of years, may as well just, make it the real thing and really go for it. Yeah. I'll use samples on some demos, or if it's like just backing strings, something simple, just layers. But nothing beats the real thing. Right. Well,
as you mentioned, for demos, it's probably useful so you can at least hear it in the mix a little bit, or for the demo, just to be, you'll have it in your mind as to where you want the strings to fit with the piano, but then being able to at least get that next step can probably help a lot. Yeah,
absolutely. And I use Finale 2012 to write my strings.
Hell yeah.
Super ghetto.
Hey. Gets the
job
done.
Works on my computer, and it just glitches out. And there's like little things that I have to make sure the settings do before the program crashes. Whatever, it's fun.
Yeah,
I want to know, but I'll take that. And as long as that's to the same BPM that is whatever's in my DAW, I can take those that recording of those strings playing and pop it in and kind of see how it sounds. Along
right. So yeah, I mean, whatever gets the job done, honestly, at the end of the day, I love that kind of stuff. Like, there was this producer, and I need to go back and get the name. I think I brought this up at least once before, but he's an electronic music producer, and he put together his full album on a laptop, and then not even studio monitors, just like PC monitors. And it was an album that people loved. I mean, it got, tons of Spotify plays, or whatever. Like, it was
cool.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, this is what I put that album out on, and so it's so cool to see that these little imperfections, these little processes are what lend to awesome work on the back end,
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Love it.
So the studio, this is something I wanted to ask about, because I follow you on Instagram, of course. We've been chatting on Instagram, and I always see these awesome pictures of the Alamo.
Sure.
What's your association? I mean, it's a beautiful studio.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting story. I mean, we were, my band was practicing at a house that I lived at in Minneapolis, just in the basement, worked fine, had all of our gear down there, and then we moved out and all just got 1-bedroom apartments. We're like, shit, where the hell are we going to practice? So we were looking all over the place, and we're like, maybe we just even rent like a separate house just as a studio. Like, try to pay for that, and like, that's kind of a dumb idea. But just looking all over the place, and like the local practice spaces are like, metal bands all playing together, like next to each other in hot rooms, and it's just bad vibes.
Right.
So we found this place on Craigslist, and it was a total shithole. And they were asking just dirt cheap rent.
Yeah.
And we're like, can we check it out? And it's like, sure. And come check it out. And it's still like, it was in pretty rough shape, but it's a huge warehouse type thing. It's 1,600 square feet.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was just so cheap. We're like, yeah, we'll fix it up. We'll take it. He's like, well, what do you guys want to do here? like, well, just play some music. Like,
yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
But got it, and we it used to be a guy like lived here and fixed up cars. And like he had like a loft and everything that he slept in, and then would take it down when the cars would come in. He'd fix the cars, and just super weird because there's no shower here. So I don't know
that's like perfect for a studio. That's amazing.
Yeah, right. And then a guy came in and built a skate park, and he had a huge bowl ramp in here. Which was super cool. When we moved in, there was just like scuff marks on the ceiling from all the skaters up there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Super sweet. So it's been a bunch of different things, but when we came in, we insulated the place, drywalled it, painted it. Paint goes a long way.
Yeah.
And grounded some circuits, and just kind of took about a year to really get the place together.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's my band's here. There's another band that practices a couple nights of the week. And then another engineer's moving in a side room and building like a full-blown studio.
Oh, that's so sick.
Cool. Yep.
Dude, that is so cool, because I'm sure now with other people working in there, you kind of can cover the rent, and now you have this space that you have a bunch of pianos, a bunch of just cool stuff to play with.
Right, yeah. And my wife loves it because of all my pianos. She doesn't have to have them at the house. So that works out. But it's great. We have even people will rent it for a night and help us out with the rent. Stuff like that. Then it's kind of grown to be a little community. Yeah. Friday nights, just the dudes will come here and whatever, drink beer.
That's so fucking cool, dude. That's
it's
awesome.
Kind of like a little clubhouse.
Yeah.
Do you want a little tour?
Yeah, dude, for sure.
You can try it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna unhook the mic super quick. So I can walk around with it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for the people listening on Spotify and Google and iTunes, this is the perfect time to say go check out the YouTube channel. And if you don't, I'll be upset with you. How about that?
Good plug. All right. We're doing traveling studio here.
I like it.
Let's grab the interface. Studio tours.
Dude, it looks
the
good.
Alamo.
So as you do this, so I saw there was a time, well, maybe, no, this is a good time to bring it up. There was a time when you were destroying a piano in there.
Oh my God. I mean, I love pianos, but I quickly learned that everyone else does too. To see pianos being destroyed.
No. I saw there's like backlash because you were like posting after, you're like, hey, this piano is non-functional. It cannot be fixed. It's been sitting here, so this is a good time to clear the air. Like, wasn't coming back.
Yes.
There's
wasn't coming back. Piano. Nope. Got it for free on Craigslist a long time ago. And I asked the guy, got it from a guy who's like 90 years old. I was like, is the piano in good shape? He's like, yeah, it's perfect shape. Show up, and it was just awful. But I already had the movers coming. I was like, well, at the very least, it'll look good.
Yeah.
It got here, tried to tune it. The soundboard had a humongous crack in it. And it was just, I couldn't do anything with it. We had it for 3 years. I tried numerous times to do stuff with it. And then we got in, let's see, this grand piano.
Ooh.
You can see that.
So
this one is very functional and really nice. So we got that one in and had to make some room. And I mean, the other one couldn't even be donated because no one would want it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything with it. So we thought we made a fun video out of it, and there it is. If you can see it.
That's a little dark.
Too dark.
That's where that's its remnants.
Yeah. So I've quickly learned that a grand piano is just like one huge piece of cast iron. So like you can't. I was like, oh well, we'll smash it up, take it into pieces, throw it in the dumpster. Like, no, like you can't even. It's still a huge grand piano. So it's up against the wall. Still made some space, but yeah. Sorry everybody if I ruined your Monday morning.
I loved
that
it.
Video.
I loved it. I was like, this is awesome because it was on piano day, and it was awesome.
Right. It was still fun.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, if it can't come back, it's gone.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
Come on. Yeah.
So let's see here. So this is the main practice area. So we got drum set there, PA system, etc. We've got, let's see, this is tricky. That's kind of my main piano that I'll write on and play on.
Yeah.
And you can see John Feltz. John Hayes' Felt still on there. Thank you, Johnny. I'll get that back to you shortly. Got a little Yamaha CP70.
Cool.
What's that? Yep. So that's what I got. Are you familiar with the CP70?
No.
It's a grand piano, but like an electric grand piano. So it's real strings in the inside.
Oh, cool.
And cool to actually play with live. It comes apart in 2 pieces, but it's extremely heavy. And they used to use it in the 70s, and my dad's band had one.
Oh, cool.
And so, but then everything went digital. And when I bought this, my dad came over and he's like, "What the hell are you doing with that?" It's like, we went digital for a reason. It's a pain in the ass to move those. It's like, it's a real thing. It's cool.
Right.
But it's fun. And when I got it, there was a couple strings that were broken on it. So before fixing those, I played around it and played in keys that didn't use those strings.
That's cool.
And wrote most of Illume.
Yeah.
That record was in the keys of that didn't have to use those strings.
Dude, that is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Let's see here. We've got, this thing is so cool. Let's see if I can get you a good angle on this. So another band moved in, and they, let's see, brought this gem in.
Whoa.
It's called the Fun Machine. And it's super ghetto.
I love that sound. Oh my god.
But the coolest thing is see if you recognize this. It's that Gorillaz song.
Oh yeah, what?
Yeah, and that's all they used. That's the whole thing.
No, did they sample it from here?
Probably. It's exactly what they use, and it's just like this. There's a little beat, and it's major, and then there's a minor bar, just to make a minor.
That's so funny, man.
And it looks sweet.
That's totally it too. Yeah.
So
I couldn't
funny.
put my finger on it for a second, but dude, that song was huge.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, love it. When they brought it in, they're like, check this out. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I love hearing stories like that where it's like, oh, you know that iconic song? Part of it sampled. Like they're like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's make a huge track based on this thing we just pretty much stole, you know?
Right, exactly. Love it. It's so cool. Got a ton of guitar amps. It's a buddy who's just a huge gearhead and drives me crazy. It's like pedal board, if you can see that.
Oh yeah, I have a buddy like that.
Yeah, he just constantly swaps them out all the time.
Yeah,
and my I play lead guitar in my band, and I've got a reverb, delay, boost, and a tuner, and that's it.
Dude,
that's
was
how I
me.
like it.
Yeah. I had nothing, and then I had a buddy who was like every pedal under the sun. Yeah.
Yep. It's it just gets overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny.
We've got,
go ahead. Sorry.
This guy. That piano. It's let's see, try to get a better angle on it. Sorry, is this shaky at all and weird?
No, it's good.
All right, cool. You can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
So this is I think it's Danish, and I think actually Nilsfrom has a similar one. It's really, really cute. It's in rough shape now. It needs to be tuned. But it's super mini and just really, really pretty. But I found it on Craigslist and went up to go meet the dude, and he was selling it for like $1,000, I think. And I was almost there, and he called me, and he's like, "Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I was moving this piano outside of the garage to get it ready for you, and I dropped it on the ground, and the whole thing's in pieces."
Oh,
what?
No.
It's like, well, I mean, I'm almost there. Like, it was 3 hours away.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm almost there. Can I just try it out? And he's like, yeah, I can't let you take it for free just because it's been in my family for so long, but $100 sound okay? It's like, yeah, sure, I'll try to figure it out. And took it, and it was in pieces and broken, and the keys were all messed up. Popped in the car, got home, and I was able to fix it up fairly quickly. It was just a couple pieces that needed to be put back together to make the keys all align.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ended up sounding really good, especially with some felt on it, and recorded a piece for him and sent it to him. So
that's cool.
It was still in good shape.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
So I just have too many pianos. I need some more.
Is most of it Craigslist, just kind of seeing what people put up there and?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
quite a bit. But I have a nasty habit of buying stuff that's like they can't really resell very well. So it's just stuff with some character that I fall in love with, but doesn't really have any resale value.
Right,
which I guess is fine as long as I hang on to it.
Yeah.
But I also like don't have a piano that's like really, really nice.
Mm. It's cool though because you
me
get
at
so
all?
much. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. But you get so much
Awesome.
character. Oh, you can hear me? We'll give it a sec.
Let's go back where the internet's
Let's
working
go.
okay.
The interwebs. Temporary pause. You know what? This is a perfect time to talk about checking out the YouTube channel. Right now, I'm seeing Jacob walk around his...
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello. I'll keep talking.
Can you hear me?
And I'll edit this. Hey, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
Come on, baby. We can do this. Are we back?
I can hear you.
Are we back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Good God.
You can hear me?
God, you think it's 2019, but the internet's still shoddy.
Dude.
Jeez.
No. Don't worry. I plugged the YouTube channel, so it's fine.
Nice. Love it. Love it.
I was like,
good
this
save.
Is the perfect time to talk about YouTube.
All right, we're back on the desk where the internet's good. But
yeah.
Thanks for taking the tour with me.
Dude, I loved it, man. It's so cool. And I like that. I just love the idea of checking Craigslist, and then you find these things that have character, they have meaning. You'll get some incredible sound out of it that you may not have ever really expected, And
right.
it would just be such a cool experience just to see kind of what comes out of it. And another thing, it's so cool because I see that, people are moving. This piano's heavy. They don't know what the hell to do with it. Sometimes it's like you'll see pianos for free on Craigslist.
Right. All over the place. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've gotten a couple like that or similar.
Yeah.
But also, kind of cheap when it comes to that too. So I'll get like free pianos, but then when it comes time to like record a new record, I go and pay on a super expensive Steinway or something.
Right.
So it'd be nice to eventually get like just a really solid piano, like some Yamaha U1 or just something that I can trust.
Yeah. But it's so cool. It makes for this awesome studio, and it's so cool that it's your place. So as you mentioned, you can have people over. It's just like this cool little community place. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah, love it. And then we threw the first show here for
my
release show.
Yeah.
It was my release show, but more so just so that we could have a cool show with all of us playing. That was super fun. It was our first time. We always just talked about doing a show here of some sort and just all talk over beer, but nothing, no action. And finally decided to do it. And it was so much fun. Like getting a bunch of people in here and just being really intimate and setting up this whole space how we wanted it.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So we put all the pianos in the middle and had a string quartet kind of around that play and just jammed out. It was great.
That's awesome. So cool. And I saw, I know John Hayes, Philip Daniel, and one other
Elskavan.
Yeah.
So he Chris Bartles, he's also a good friend and he lives in St. Paul too. Local dude, and he plays in a really, really good band. That's just really good. And my band opened up for his band.
Oh, cool.
And then so I met him that way, and then a couple months later he hit me up and he's like, "Hey dude, is this you?" And he like sent my album from Spotify. And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "I do stuff like this too," and sent over his stuff, and so we connected on that level.
That's cool.
So going back to what we were talking about before, like no one knows each other, and we just kind of get brought together by that stuff. So yeah, he makes some beautiful, beautiful soundscapes. So we had his set and had like a projector going against the screen, and all the other lights were off, and he was just like doing his ambient stuff, and it was awesome.
Oh, that's so cool, man! I love it, dude. And again, it just speaks to like this community and how cool people are, and how supportive people are, and I love it, man. And just to kind of think about what this whole thing has happened with just being able to chat with you guys, I think it's so cool that people get to just hear these perspectives too, because like, man, I'm getting tuned into like these little like niches of people who are doing cool music over here, and they're all supporting one another. Then there's one over here, and just seeing that it's so exciting, and it makes you feel like closer with these other people rather than I would imagine, actually not even imagine, when I was making music 10 years ago. And nothing was really coming of it. I didn't know anyone. I didn't
right.
Like that was it.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, like I would have I wouldn't have put it on a show if it weren't for those three being like, Jake, you got a sweet studio. Let's do this. Let's do a show. Let's make this happen. And then they literally just did that enough times where I was like, all right, let's do it. We'll do it. Because there's just like so many logistics behind it. I was like, it's not even a door in the bathroom. We have to figure that out before we have people over. Which we did.
Yeah,
it worked
that's
out.
good. That's good.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know how many people we can fit in here, and like it's kind of like we don't really want to advertise the address of this place just for safety and stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah, there's all that. Yeah.
All those logistics. So like, how do we make it semi-private, but at least get some cool people around town that don't really know us, but like this sort of music. And yeah, thankfully it all worked out. I stopped counting RSVPs after a while. I was like, I'm just gonna put my faith in it that it all works out, and like there's not too many people here, like so that people are still comfortable.
Yep.
And thankfully, it was perfect. Worked out. My wife ran merch and sold drinks, and we didn't sell drinks. We took donations. We can't sell drinks.
Oh, right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Yep. Donations. It's the same. Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Right. It works.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool. I cannot see a better venue, really, than because people think venue, they're like, okay, stage and you sit and whatever. But your place is so cool because it's immersive. Like you're in there, and there's all this really cool stuff on the walls. There's pianos everywhere, and I'm sure, of course, I know you. But the feel, the vibe, and when I just look at pictures, is so cool. So I would just imagine it's got to be the best place to put on little things like that. And maybe this was a one-off, but honestly, like it just seems like the coolest place. Yeah. Yeah,
it's fun. And I mean, the show went well. So I think we'll do some more, probably do a release show with my band and see how that vibe goes.
Yeah.
It was cool for the last one, having a 360 vibe. Everyone sat around the pianos, which was super cool.
Yeah.
And then we filmed the whole thing and had the audio professionally recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll actually put out a video soon.
Cool.
So that'll be pretty exciting. Been learning how to video edit.
That's
lately, and that's a whole other beast.
That's a whole other beast. Yeah. I opened up a can of worms with this, and we'll leave it at that.
I got like a trial of Adobe Premiere Pro, and like I don't know what I'm doing in there.
Yeah,
like give me back to iMovie.
Totally, it's overwhelming at first, but then after a while, you're like, okay. It seemed like there's way too much stuff to do to like do something very simple, and then over time, I'm like, okay, makes sense. I'll give that to you.
Right. There's just a lot of possibilities, but you don't have to.
Right.
Very true.
Dude, that's so cool, man. I mean, this has been super, super cool, and I just love doing these episodes. And fuck, I don't know, man. These have each one is getting cooler and cooler. I'm just stoked about it. So what?
We've gotten to speak with some.
I know
really
this is
cool
hard
people.
to say, but what's kind? Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Hey, okay, cool.
Got it.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, so what's kind of on the horizon for new stuff? Like I know that recent releases are. This was recent, but where are you kind of seeing now? Are you taking a breather just to kind of reset and then see kind of what pans out from here?
Yeah, I mean it's with a release. If you time it right, there's a lot of like you finish the album well before you actually put it out.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it's just like waiting to like finally put it out so you can really move on.
Yep.
But like in the meantime, still like just really wanting to do something else and keep creating. So kind of had that time of resting a little bit per se.
Mm-hmm.
But now just looking for the next project. Me and Philip Daniel actually have a collaborative thing going,
cool.
Which is super sweet. And I can't remember the last time I was this excited about something that I've been a part of. It's coming together like just really well. So I think we did a couple tracks. I think we'll probably shoot for a whole album.
Oh, dude.
So that'll be cool. The project's called, we don't have anything really up yet, but Blama, Blomma, that's what we're calling it.
Cool.
So we'll do an announcement at some point when we come out with the single, but it's cool. It's like we just complement each other so well on what we're doing. I'm mainly doing a lot of work on the Juno 60, and exploring the capabilities of that, and then he's coming back with just his like virtuosic piano stuff, and
cool.
It's super sweet. There was one piece I was like, how fast can you play? And he's like, try me. I was like, all right, because I was gonna send him like an arpeggi on the Juno, like
yeah.
And I like did this one where I taped keys down in like kind of this weird scale all the way up, so that I could just play it, and then it would be something I couldn't play with my two hands.
Oh
And it would be like 3 octaves long and just like super fast. And I was like, "Here you go, man. Give it your best shot." But it's crazy, and he just spits it back, and he's playing along with it. And I was like, "What in the world, man? You're insane!" Yeah, he's an animal.
He's insane.
So that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. So just,
dude, it's so cool. That's so cool. It would be really cool at some point. I mean, maybe around that time to do. I actually have never done an episode where it's been multiple people, just because I thought with just audio it might be too much going on for but that would be cool at some point if you guys wanted to just chat about that collaborative experience working on new releases. That would be super cool, because I'm sure
I'd love to.
Yeah, I'm sure what's going to come out is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So we'll definitely keep you all posted.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah, this has been, again, I mean, this has just been super cool, and I knew going into this one I was really stoked about it, just listening to your music, and I'm glad like I was like, I'm getting in the studio, I'm putting up all this junk, I'm getting video, and the video stuff took a while. Like I took forever trying to figure it out, because I was like, I need to buy $1,000 video camera. I'm using a webcam. I'm using a webcam for this. It's $70.
You look great.
Dude, I got it to work. Yeah,
Nice.
Man. So we made it fucking work, dude. And I'm so stoked, man. But dude, and just to speak, further to this, if aside from coming on with Philip and doing, something like that, which would be super cool, if you ever want to come back on at any time, I really am super down. I mean, I intend for
cool,
it.
man.
We'll do
Nice.
episode. We'll be be at episode 50 one day.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, man. I mean, I love the new format, and I'm glad it seems like things are taking off. It's awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm super stoked, and I'm just really stoked to be part of this whole thing and get to chat with you guys. Honestly, like that's the coolest fucking part for me. So, anyways,
yeah. Great.
So, yeah, man, this has been super cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. All right.